Hey, what's up, metal and heavy music fans? It's Fled of Icarus again with MetalTrenches.com, and I've got 5 more albums that you will not want to miss. But before I do that, if you like to stay up to date with the best and brightest metal albums and bands from the underground and above, then stick with me by hitting that subscribe button down below. I upload new content every single week. But let's get into it. Alright, first up we've got Portugal black metal band Geria returning with the massive sounding Limbo via Season of Mist. Recommend these guys to fans of Cult of Fire, Audacis, and Numenorian. Now, Geria have opted to use the specific term Cathartic Black Metal when describing their music, and honestly, I couldn't have pegged it better myself. While many of the usual genre tropes are still at play alongside more ominous segments, these are all underpinned by an overall atmosphere that feels like one giant metaphysical release. It strikes a perfect balance, maintaining a solid footing in the roots of the genre, without fully getting lost in the obvious elements of post-black and black gaze that come through in the more ethereal moments. Just for instance, Ahtme kicks the album off with some seriously malevolent-sounding guitars that actually remind me of Behemoth's Blow Your Trumpets Gabriel. But then around the halfway mark transitions to a blissful, melodic post-metal interlude before kicking right back up into high gear with blast beats and destructive distortion once more. Limbo is brimming with this constant sense of duality and emotional intensity, especially on lead single Null, which not only expertly conveys these ideas, but also stands as probably their most impressive composition to date. The amazing drums that carry Conspiranoia's lengthy intro are a high point as well. While it would benefit from some tightening and tidying up a little bit in terms of its duration, Limbo is a fantastic album packed with just the emotional catharsis that Geria seemed to be so intent on delivering. If you enjoy bands like Numenorian, do yourself a favor and check these guys out as well. It's easily their best to date. Alright, shifting gears to some death metal, we've got Kansas City tech death group Ahtme following up the righteously repugnant Sewerborn with the even more impressive Mephitic, once again via Unique Leader Records. Recommend these guys to Archspire, Abnormality, and Aborted. Ahtme, which were formerly the Roman Holiday, appear to be another band on the rise. Their growth was already apparent on 2018 Sewerborn, and the songwriting and performances have only tightened substantially since then. Leading tracks Swarm of Fools and Putrid Perforation, that's a mouthful, are a flurry of sharply honed technical riffs and Cannibal Corpse vocals that are the definition of heavy in the modern age. Not to be outdone, Node sounds as if the drummer and guitarist are vying for the title of most talented band member, dueling relentless hooks and ripping melodic solos against dizzying, ever-shifting rhythm patterns. And it doesn't take long for the obvious infectious qualities of deeper cuts like Dent and Devourment Empowerment, another great title there, to burrow under the skin like these scarabs from The Mummy. What? You remember those? Good quarantine rewatch, not outdated at all. Mephitic is certainly the band's most consistent and accomplished album to date with its highly concentrated 37-minute runtime. Ahtme aren't interested in wasting a second of your time, and it shouldn't be long until they find your way into your regular listening rotation, whether you intend on it or not. Alright, back into black metal territory with Portland black metal band Drouth, returning with the imposing Excerpts from a Dread Liturgy via Translation Loss Records. I'd recommend these guys to fans of Pale Chalice, Abigail Williams, and Uada. With Excerpts from a Dread Liturgy, Drouth continue the trajectory of their previous album towards a more modern, melodic black metal sound in the vein of fellow Portlanders Uada. But let's not oversimplify, as along the way the band have seriously stepped up their game in the songwriting department. With longer runtimes and far proggier compositions than ever before, these are easily their most ambitious songs to date. The guitars in particular on An Apiarist have some more than passing Opeth vibes, from the bouncy chord progressions to the ripping melodic solo that certainly caught my attention early on. Meanwhile, others like O Time, Thy Pyramids, An Unfinished Nightmare, and A Repulsive Act Shrouded in Flesh, some long titles on this one, still deliver on the vicious onslaught of blast beats and icy tremolos that made Knives, Labyrinths, Mirrors such a resounding success back in 2017. Excerpts from a Dread Liturgy represents a band with their focus on the road ahead, dabbling in more complex songwriting and more expansive dynamic performances. This will certainly not be the last time you hear the name Drouth from my lips. Another one of the few black metal albums to really catch my attention in 2020. Alright, and the pendulum swings back now with Australian blackened Deathgrind band Resin Tomb, featuring members of Siberian Hellsounds, Descent, and Snorlax with their self-titled album via Brilliant Emperor Records. Resin Tomb is basically what you get if you try to play Vermin Womb simultaneously with Ulcerate, with throat-wrenching high-register screams and deep snarls raging alongside sinister black metal guitars that sound like a swirling cosmic abyss. This is the ultimate fusion of every genre's darkest elements, it seems like. Other names that come to mind: Boofy Heimat, Miko, and Plebeian Grandstand. In a mere 16 minutes, the band conjures nightmares that have taken me 3.5 decades to properly cultivate. This is the crushing weight of existence siphoning your life force seconds at a time. Resin Tomb is a sickening collision of hellfire black metal, Scandinavian hardcore, and punishing deathgrind that has earned its place among the heaviest releases of the year. Alright, and last but certainly not least, we've got Belarus black metal duo Dkharmakhaoz with their ensorceling new album Proclamation of the Black Suns via Iron Bonehead. If you enjoy the works of Colorado black metal artist Nas Alchemeth, who does Nightbringer, Oculus, Erados, I did an interview with him on the podcast, by the way, you should definitely check out, but you're going to love Dkharmakhaoz if you enjoy those projects. With its deeply imposing atmosphere, piercing minimalistic guitar melodies, and venomous vocal deliveries, the slower, more methodical moments are strikingly similar in approach, in particular to Oculus. Proclamation of the Black Suns adeptly traverses shifting textures and pacing from this oozing, head-bobbing blackened doom to fiery climaxes of blast-beat-ridden nightmarescapes. There's even some occasional, almost Blut aus Nord-esque industrial elements, leading to one of my favorite moments later into Beyond the Transcendental Lumines. In any case, the entire album is brimming with earth-shaking double bass kick and toms and shrieking guitar leads that give way to deeply malevolent grooves. I guarantee that these bleak tones will evoke a serious sense of dread in anyone who dares to listen. And that's it, gang. 5 more albums that you definitely do not want to miss right now. This was definitely a black metal heavy episode, which is great because it's been kind of something I feel like I've been a little bit weak on recently. So for those of you out there looking for it, there you go. And please do stick around because there's plenty more videos coming right after this one. I've got other album roundups, I've got full album reviews, tier lists, the podcast that I mentioned before where I get to interview all these very fascinating musicians. So please do subscribe and stick around for all those. Also in the description, you can find links for our social media, the email newsletter, and our Patreon and Subscribe Star if you want to take that extra jump to becoming a supporter. And please do drop us a comment. Let me know which one of these bands was your favorite, which one you ended up buying in particular. I love getting those comments because that's what this is all about, is giving these great bands the exposure that they deserve and hopefully it leading to some money in their pockets so that they can continue to do it. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.